Hey, Team Faith and Soul. Wow, we're already knocking it out of the park. Uh, Happy Wednesday night. I'm so excited to be here. And you know what? It's pretty interesting because I will say that first and foremost, um, thank you for catching the live if you're joining us live. Otherwise, if you catch the replay, thanks so much for hanging out. I appreciate it. I don't really have a specific topic to talk about tonight. I don't really think that this particular training, I don't even know if I really want to call it training, but this live's really not going to last that long. I feel like I just kind of had something on my mind, and I was honestly trying to rack my brain for like the longest time over the last week. And I'm like, okay, I eventually do want to come up with like an agenda when it comes to topics, that we'll discuss. But I don't know. I'm thinking that, well, on a side note, two things actually. Tonight, like I said, tonight's training or really just conversation is just going to be a little bit more casual. The second thing is that if you're on Team Faith and Soul, this only pertains to y'all. I am considering going back to doing like our old school, like Facebook Lives. I feel like that a lot of you guys on the team have a lot going on right now. And as much as I don't mind recording my trainings, I feel like I kind of want to make a shift in my business. And YouTube trainings will still be here. So don't worry about that. If you are a subscriber of mine and you watch my trainings, don't you worry, because I feel like that I'm actually going to specifically do Zoom trainings that will pertain to not really just my team, but just on a broader aspect. And the reason why I say that is I think that I want to just go back to the basics. I feel like that we're hearing that a lot in our business, a lot like in maybe your community, among your friends, but I've been hearing that a lot from my Scentsy people, my Scentsy friends. And I like the idea of just going back to the basics. And pretty cool too, the fact that we are talking about that on a side note, we're talking about that in church as well. So I think, that's kind of, and also it's pretty cool because it ties into my word of the year, which is rebuild. So I feel like that's kind of the direction that this YouTube channel is going to go, is that I think I just want to start back to the basics. I will be doing trainings probably once a week. I don't really want to overdo it. So once a week. And I honestly think that if I do that, it's going to take the pressure off of me. So then that way I can literally just go on Zoom, record something, call a day, and not have like a specific day or time. It's just whenever my week allows. I kind of like the idea of that, and that brings me a little bit of joy. On the other hand, for Team Faith and Soul, like I was saying earlier, I think that I'm going to, not I think I know, I am going back to the basics and also doing that. That means doing Facebook Lives. Same thing. At this rate, I think it's really just for myself more than you guys. Again, just picking like the day and time to go live. I don't think I'm necessarily going to do evening lives anymore. Because once again, I think we're getting down to where not as many of you guys are able to jump on and join the live. And to be honest with you, especially and particularly with my team in general, I personally, most of the trainees, if not all of them, I feel like that in order for you to really truly get the benefit, you have to be on the live. You can only get so much from watching a replay on a training. I mean, don't get me wrong, I do watch a lot of trainings on YouTube that are like a year or two older from other consultants and even non-Scentsy people too. And I do get something out of that, but I feel like that because of how my schedule is, and honestly, just the what do I want to say? Just like my attention span. That's what I want to say. My attention span. I have to watch. I love being on someone's live because it's that person to person connectivity. It's that connection you're making, and you're able to get your questions answered. You're able to get feedback. So many benefits from joining the live. When you're watching the replay, is not the same. And as much as I love that my team does watch the replay. Like I said, I would get honestly more excited if it was on the live that you were joining. That's okay because life happens. And going back to last year's word, pivot, I'm going to pivot in this moment. And that's why I said, I realized that my YouTube trainings are going to continue on, but for broader platforms. So in other words, you won't hear me say Team Faith and Soul anymore on my YouTube training. So it's really just going to pertain to everybody in general. And I think I'll just have a lot more fun with it that way. So if you are catching this replay and you are on our team for Team Faith and Soul, just know that going forward after this week, I will be going live. Like I said, as of right now, no specific day or time, but I will be going live on our team page. And what I plan on doing is that when I do go live, I will pin it and attach it to the top of our team page. That way it's easy to access. And then I think that there's a way that I can also make sure that it's searchable. So then that way, if you're needing it for future reference, then it's there. But yeah, so that's pretty much the plan. So for tonight, kind of tying into that, I kind of want to discuss, like, I know that if you watched the previous training that we talked about coming up with our word of the year, right? And with our word of the year, it kind of got me to thinking about this, because I was with a friend the other day and we were talking about how, well, she was sharing with me actually about how her perspective is on that the new year doesn't actually start until March. And I really had to sit with that for a little bit, because we're so, we're trained over and over and over through everything, like through school, through like our calendars, planners, phones, everything, all the things, right? That the new year starts with January. And any other year in the past, I probably would have thought that was sounded a little weird and been like, no, because the new year starts in January. However, this year is a little bit different for me. And this is where I was like, you know what? I'm going to be a little bit more open-minded with what she was saying, and I'm going to sit on it. And I want to, really ponder on this idea. And what's interesting is it's making a little bit more sense to me that she said that, because, well, a couple things. This is kind of irrelevant to tonight's training, but if you think about it, and I was like, that's pretty cool, is that let's just say that the new year starts in March. So, okay, so make sure I can do this right. We'll see. So if you counted it off from March as being the first of the year, right? March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October. So she was saying that with October starts with octa. Octa is 8, right? So then it would only make sense then that October is actually supposed to be in representation of with the number 8 and not 10. So that means then her theory that she was talking about, that she had otherwise researched and had a lot of knowledge on, was that the new year starts in March and not January. And despite, anything else research wise, I like the idea of that, to be honest with you, because November, December was insanity for me and my business. And I don't know about you guys, but that's where I was. December kind of trickled off towards the middle. Like, I did a lot of events in December, which I was very excited about, because that's something in this new year that I'm definitely focusing more on, is events, because I feel like I'm stuck as far as my customer base is concerned. And I feel like that at this rate with my business, that my regulars are just kind of in an area where they'll contact me and let me know when they're ready, when they want to order, when they need something from me. It's no longer me necessarily like needing to follow up with them, because interesting enough, and this is just speaking on me, not anyone else, but just for me, and particularly like those that I in the past would have otherwise needed to follow up with, funny enough, a lot of them are in Cincy Club. And so that wasn't really strategically planned that way. It just kind of happened. And we did talk about club, and then they got into club for other reasons. But I was thinking about it recently, and I was like, oh, that's pretty interesting. That the ones that I would normally need to remind and follow up with are in Cincy Club. So I thought that was pretty cool. So a little nugget of information, a little tip there for you, that if you're watching this and you have customers that have crazy busy schedules, scatterbrain, squirrel brain like me, and they're always the ones that are like, oh my gosh, thank you so much for following up with me. I always forget to get with you. Thank you so much. I almost forgot, et cetera, et cetera. Those are the people that need to get in the Cincy Club. So I'm just saying. So going into this whole concept of the new year, I feel like that's kind of where I'm entering 2023, is that I am not going to have the mentality of new year until March. I actually really freaking like that. Like that actually makes me very excited. And the reason being is that I feel like I'm still trying to get my ish together. Hopefully that makes sense. But I feel like I'm just trying to get my life together. And I'm in no rush to do so because the idea of rushing it and feeling like that there's this ridiculous amount of pressure that January is new year, new me, and that we need to, do something for ourselves and we're starting fresh, blah, blah, blah. And I feel like that that's kind of irrelevant. And I'm like, you know what? I like the idea of March being my fresh start, my March being my January, because I feel like that I'm at this like pocket in my life, in my business and personal life, where I'm just now getting my groove back. That's funny. Anyways, you'll get it if you've seen it, the reference to that. But I just feel like I'm getting into my groove where I feel like I'm getting a little bit more comfortable with who I am, what I want my business to look like, the direction of my business, how I feel about like what I want to do and try and just what that looks like for me. Like I'm just now getting in my niche. And I feel like that I really want to utilize and take advantage of January, February, and being really like the end of the year for me. So we're talking purging through my office stuff, getting rid of the crap that I no longer need, getting rid of the trash, obviously, the things that are just taking up space in my office. I've been decluttering, getting several things from around my office around here that are like organization pieces that I don't even need anymore because lately a lot of the furniture and stuff in my office has made it feel really full and heavy and I feel closed in. So I was like, okay, we got to do something about that. So less is more. So there was that. And then I feel like to just really allowing myself enough grace between January and February to figure out maybe a new system that I want to do. I want to allow myself the next 2 months potential to have a fresh, clean slate, to not feel so rushed. One blessing that we have as Cincy consultants is the fact that the catalog doesn't start, the new catalog for spring, summer doesn't kick off until March. And also with the conversation that I had with my friend, I was like, holy crap, that is like perfect because the new catalog starts in March. The way I see it is that January is whatever I want it to make it be, whatever I want it to be. There's so much potential there. And then February is pretty much going to be like my prep period to get ready for March, our new catalog season. And I feel like that is so cool to think about. And I don't know if Cincy like did that. I don't know if they had that thought process too, where they were like, the new year is technically in March. So let's go ahead and change up the catalog release and let's have it in March instead of February. I think that's really cool. I love that. So that is why I feel like, and hopefully you can get a little something out of that too, that I feel like that hopefully you'll be able to get to a point where you too don't feel as much pressure on yourself. Um, I really like the idea that I'm going into this year with an open mind and clean slate. And what that means to me is that I don't want to do the same stuff. I don't want to do the same things that I did in the last 2 years because what I did for my business in the last 2 years is definitely not what's going to bring me joy anymore this year. And I feel like that it's just we're in a very different place. We're in a very different state. And the things that I did for my business, for example, like my mystery monthly boxes, oh my gosh, if you know, you know. I have so much passion to do those. I freaking love doing those boxes. I have so much fun coming up with the themes. But sadly, right now, a lot of my customer base, they're just not feeling it. And I don't know if it's because of, you know, they're cutting back on expenses. And that's the thing too, is I even adjusted the price. I used to offer them over the last couple of years that I've been with Cincy. I offered them at $20. I even tried to do like a mystery scent bag and I dropped the price. I think I was doing it for, I want to say like 12, 13 bucks. I tried that and then no bites. And I was like, what the heck? Because like I said, that is the one thing in my entire business that brings me so much joy. And I was like, you know what? It's okay. I'm just going to take a step back from it. I'm not going to do it this year. And I think I was telling my husband, this was really funny. I was telling my husband, I was like, you know, it's kind of like how Taco Bell does their Mexican pizza and their nacho fries. And again, if you know, you know. Because it's not always around, right? And they take it away, and a lot of people lose their shit. They lose their minds, right? They lose it, and they lose their ish, and it becomes such a high demand that when it comes back, we lose our minds. I mean, I know I do. Shoot, especially over that Mexican pizza. But I think it's the same thing. I think that I'm going to give it this year to where I'm going to take a break from my scent boxes. And I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to do them anymore. And it's not that I don't want to do them, but I feel like that maybe perhaps my gut is telling me that's a huge thing for me this year is not only getting like a healthier gut, but just the fact that like I think it's pretty cute because it's like I'm getting a healthier gut, and at the same time I'm learning to listen to my gut more. I love that. I didn't even purposely do that. It just happened. But I feel like that I want to listen to my gut, and my gut is telling me that to lay low. It's like, Megan, don't do the monthly boxes. We're going to lay low, not do it this year. And I feel like I'm just going to wait to see if there's any hype created enough to where customers going to be like, hey, I've noticed lately you haven't done your mystery boxes, or you haven't done them in a while. Are you still doing them? I'm just secretly hoping between you and I that's going to happen. And if not, it's all good. But I feel like that by not doing that this year, it's going to, for one, help me cut back a little bit on extra expenses. Let's be honest. It's going to allow me more freedom and time. I feel like it's given me the opportunity to go into more ventures. For example, just on a little side note, being that if you're watching this, you're more likely on my YouTube channel. I this year have been dabbling in the idea of doing a YouTube channel / podcast with small business owners, not necessarily just Scentsy consultants. I have a lot of friends who own their own small businesses, every product you can imagine. Some of them small MLM businesses, others are self-starters. But I thought that was so cool, like men and women, bringing them on. And so that's something I'm playing in and dabbling in. So look forward to that for my YouTube channel. And I'm just going to integrate it into these videos as well. But I'm super excited about that. So, for me, obviously, like going back to like giving up my monthly boxes, like if I'm not giving it up, that sounded weird, just putting it aside for the year, just kind of putting it like a pin in it, if you'll say. So then that way I'll have more freedom to be able to do some new things, and we'll just see. We'll just go from there. But I'm super excited. So that's kind of just really my spiel. I told y'all it wasn't going to be that long. But I feel like that if you're watching this, just know that if you're in the place where I am, where you're just not feeling the vibe of new year, new me, I sarcastically feel like right now I don't even, well, actually, you know what? That's wrong, because I almost was going to say that it's the new year same me, but I'm definitely not the same version of myself that I was in 2022. That's for damn sure. Very different version of myself now. Very a much better version of myself. I'll say that much. But if you're in that position where you feel like, you know what, it's just taking it one day at a time, that this whole new year concept is just not, you're not vibing with it right now, I am right there with you. And that's what this video is for. I feel like that it's important for us to really just relish and be present in the day, to not get ahead of ourselves. I think it's important for us to really take a step back and reevaluate like what's important to us, what's top priority. And that's if you're a consultant or not. Maybe you're watching this and you're not a consultant at all. Maybe you're not even with Scentsy, and you're watching this. And if that's the case, then I would say that, you're not alone. And yeah, like what's that whole cheesy saying? The world is your oyster. I feel like that's kind of what comes to mind for me, is that you use January and February as your blank canvas, your blank slate. And then just be like, you know what? What's something new that I want to try? Something new that I want to learn. Challenge yourself. Give yourself that time to be able to pick that one thing that you've been thinking about, that one thing that's your gut feeling that is giving you, that is on your mind, that hasn't left you, that keeps being that little tap on your shoulder, whatever that may be. Spend January, February figuring that out. and doing it. Because I feel like if we give ourselves enough time and grace between at least January to February, then we're going to set ourselves up for success for March. And if you are within Cincy, I will definitely say to not stop doing anything that you've been doing. Don't stop it completely January, February. But, it's okay to, I don't know if I want to say like it's okay to be on cruise control, because that sounds, I don't know how that sounds. It sounds kind of, but I feel like, I'll just say this, don't feel like you have to put pressure on yourself to do all the things that other consultants are putting out there. I'll say that for sure. Stick with what you know. Go back to how you ran your business in the very beginning, when that pivotal point in your business as a consultant where you knew that this is where I'm supposed to be. I've got this down. This is fun for me. This is different. For me, for example, one of the things that I want to get back into doing as a system and have a healthier habit of is going live more or less in my VIP group, or even on my personal page, wherever the case may be, in stories, etc., and discussing and opening the boxes that are coming in, whether it's mine or my customers, my club orders, my personal orders, just whatever the heck comes in the mail. Talk about it, open it, don't overthink it, and just have a discussion about it. Just that really ties into going back to the basics. Not overthinking, oh my gosh, what verbiage is, am I going to use? Or my photo has to be perfect for me to post. Or, oh my gosh, I don't look the part for a photo right now or to go live. I don't want people to see me as how I am or how I look or how my house looks when I go live. Like, just be yourself. Just show up and be yourself. Try something different, because that's what I plan on doing. I'm very excited about January, February. And also I'm excited about the fact that, like I was saying earlier, is that this last year I had more events than I've ever done. I did more events this last year than I've ever done the last couple of years since I've been a consultant. And I feel like that truly is going to be my bread and butter for my business this year, because I feel like that it's going to challenge myself to not only network and meet new people, but also my word of the year, if you didn't already know, is rebuild. And I feel like that with me going to these new vendor events and networking with people and meeting new customers or potential new customers, I'm very excited, because that's a part of me rebuilding. Because even though I do have a team, I have a team that is constantly changing, constantly coming and going. And I love the idea of challenging myself to keep expanding and to keep growing. And the way we're going to do that is by meeting new people. And that's me getting out of my comfort zone. And also with that being said, it's doing vendor events that I haven't done before, that are not your typical run of the mill that you would expect like a Cincy person to be at. Those are the ones that I'm very excited about, to think a little bit more or less outside the box. But that's pretty much about it for tonight. Like I said, if you're a part of Team Faith and Soul, starting next week, I'll be going live sporadically on our team page. It could be once a week. It could be more than once a week. I'm really not sure, and I'm not going to overthink it. I do know that I do want to go live, because that won't be as planned like this is. And I'll be able to just show you guys in the moment how I'm working my business, what I'm doing for the day, just checking in, just to say hi. But like I said, if you do watch the YouTube channel, don't sweat it. I'm going to continue once a week posting trainings that I'm very excited about, because now I don't really as much have to focus on topics pertaining to my team, but more or less like what brings me joy and what I want to talk more about. So looking forward to that. But I hope you guys have an incredible night. Thanks again for hanging out with your girl. Hopefully you have your favorite beverage. I have been on a LaCroix kick, so that's what I'm sipping on tonight. But I will talk to y'all later, and I hope everyone has a good night. Bye, guys.